All right, guys. First off, as always, good day. Today's lesson is going to be about two particular types of economics and government. One is capitalism, and the other one is socialism. So, if you missed last week's lesson, um, then this is the makeup for it. Now, again, if you don't have the packet, that's fine. You can use line sheet of paper as long as you put on the side, notes, warm up question, um, response to question, things like that. Okay, so that way I can see what each section is at. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin. So here is your warm up question. So there's a picture right there for you. What do you see? All right. That's majority of the times the first question. What do you see? So look at the picture to your left and look at your right. What's the difference? What do you see? So write that down. Make a list. The first question. The second question is, what do you think this artist is trying to say? All right. Now, as you can see, there is a difference between the two. Just look at the guy on top, look at the middle level, and at the very bottom. Okay, now this particular theory we will be talking about in economics, but it does play a role in uh, the government class. Okay, so again, first question, list things that you see. Second one is what do you think this artist is trying to say? And there is a second part to the second question, and that is which one do you think is more realistic? Okay, so go ahead and answer that. So we're going to be talking about the economic roles in government. Now, like I said in the very beginning, there are three types, but we're only going to be talking about two today. We're talking about capitalism and communism. Socialism will be next week. Okay, so there are three major decisions that economic systems need to make before they can get started. Okay, one of the first ones is this: what and how much should be produced? Okay, it makes no sense if you basically are the leader of a country and let's say you have no cows, no goats, no any type of stuff to make milk. Why would you buy create factories to make like stuff like cheese and butter and yogurt and things like that that would require milk? That makes no sense whatsoever. You use what you have in your country, the resources, and then build from there. So if you have a lot of, let's say you have a lot of forest land and you're able to chop them down, you could make a furniture place, stuff like that. If you have I don't know, like a place that has a lot of coal, you know, mines and things like that to get coal from the ground to sell to other places. So there you use what you got. Okay. That's one of the first things in government. Um, and then how much are you going to use it? Deplete your resources right away. You can go spread it out over time. How are you going to do it? Mhm. The second question is how goods and services should proceed or be produced. My bad. Um, so again, how are you going to use your resources? What goods are going you make from that? It's like if every country in the world is making chairs, would it be wise for you to be making chairs as well? Chances are no, because everyone else is making them. So the price goes low. But if nobody is making, let's say, bookshelves, then that'd be the place to go because then the need for bookshelves might be not as high, but there's not many places that you can make bookshelves. So your country would be making bookshelves. So therefore, you'd be getting money. More likely, people be coming to you as opposed to chairs. You can get those anywhere. Okay. The last one is this: who gets the goods and services? Are you going to sell them to just the highest bidder, or are you going to sell them at a standard price? Are you going to sell them adjusting to the wealth of whoever's buying it? So the poor pay a lower price, the rich pay a higher price. How are you going to do that? Also with the services, are you going to provide your services the same for everybody, or if you pay more, you're going to get better service. If you pay less, you're going to get less quality of service. That's the kind of questions that governments ask themselves. All right, so now we're going to start with capitalism. Now, capitalism is basically when the government assumes that society will best be served by any productive economic activity that free individual choices. So, in other words, if somebody is willing to pay to have their car basically ripped apart and made into a new type of car with a fish tank and a a theater and stuff like that, someone's willing to pay all kind of money for that. Capitalism says go for it. If somebody is willing to pay for a restaurant where basically they're treated like crap, from the staff there, they're saying basically go for it. Anything people are willing to spend their money on, that company should be made. That service should be made for the people. Okay. Now, pure capitalism has five major characteristics, right? One is private ownership. There is no way that the government just pops in and says, "Oh, great job with this company. We own it now." Or it starts doing well from the nothing to something. The government then just come in and say, "Oh, this is very nice. We own half of it now." They don't do that. Under a capitalist government, they do not do that. Okay. Um, Free enterprise. Okay. Another one is one of my favorites to talk about is competition among businesses. Now, the reason I say this is because in class, I ask every single class to name me like 8 or 9 fast food burger joints that you can think of. And I mean, majority of the time, it's about 25 seconds it takes for people to name off like 9 places. McDonald's, Burger King, In-N-Out, Carl's Jr., Jack in the Box, Wendy's, the list goes on and on. And the thing is, competition is good for business, because it keeps them at a playing field that's even. All right, makes the prices go down, makes the quality go up. Because if a burger tastes like crap, um, are you really going to go there to eat it again? Chances are you're not. Now, that's especially if you have more options to go somewhere. You're going to go elsewhere. Even if the price is too high, but it's good, you might try to find somewhere that's not as good, but the price is a lot lower. So that you're trying to find a compromise somewhere. Believe it or not, that's what you're doing in your mind. You're using the capitalistic mindset of finding something that's good and not expensive, you know, and you're trying to find, maybe you might be paying more, but the quality is good, it's still kind of even, things like that. Your mind is going through there. Okay. Freedom of choice. Nobody is behind you. Nobody in the government is behind you telling you, go to McDonald's and get this food. Go to Burger King and get this food. You need to go eat at Wendy's. Nobody is doing that. No one is telling you you have to shop at a particular store. Or you have to get a particular thing, from a store. No one is doing that. Okay. The other thing is the possibility of outcomes. Basically, is this: if you do well, you thrive, you move on. If you don't, well, tough luck. You shut down and you have to think another better idea, something better to sell to the people. Um, that's what it means. The possibility of outcomes. You either thrive or you sink. So the idea of capitalism developed gradually from the medieval times into modern Europe. Now, there were two important concepts that you have to remember with capitalism. The idea that people work for economic gain. In other words, you don't just work just to barely survive. You work to grow. Go up the corporate ladder, some people want to say. That you grow financially so that you go from living in a apartment to eventually owning your own home and things like that. The other thing is that wealth is used aggressively. That the people who, uh, the company owners, they spend money in order to gain money. Okay, that makes the system flow. You know, because if you think about it, who spreads the money out more amongst the economy? A really rich CEO who spends $5 million for one particular type of car, or the workers in their everyday lives? Now, yeah, the CEO might spend $5 million to buy 5 cars, that are worth $1 million each, but that all that money is going to one business. Whereas the workers, they are spending their money on rent, electricity, food, stuff for maybe their kids, going on vacation. So they're spreading their money around a lot more than that CEO. Yeah, granted, it's more money, but they're spreading it out. And that makes the economy go, is when money is spread out everywhere and not just one particular place. All right. Now, back in the 13th century, people started to invest money with trade merchants in order to gain a profit. All right. The other thing is a free market means that the government has no limit on how much items you can buy. Okay. Now, if you've been in my class, you've seen these around, class, my little pot figures. The government can't say, Martinez, you already spent five this month. You can't buy any more. No, they cannot do that. Okay, so because they can't do that, that means I can buy however many I want, whenever I want. If I want to sell them, cool. But that's capitalism. You can buy and sell whatever you want. Okay. All right, now for communism, it's a little bit different. It started off like this. The belief is that nations that are capitalists were divided into two groups: the bourgeoisie, which is the owners of the production, and the proletariat, which are the workers. Now, the creator of communism interpreted all of human history as a class struggle between the workers and the owners. Okay, the workers have no say in how much to produce and what to produce. It's the owners. And he says as time went on that the owners of everything would go from being a good sized group to smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And that eventually a small group of people would own everything, that they would control it all, while everyone else who was quote unquote a worker would have basically nothing. If you took all of what they had, it would not equal what that one small group has. Okay. And he said with that, once the workers realize how bad they're getting pushed around, how bad it's tilted to one side, they get everything they want, that the workers will become violent and attack the uh, the bourgeoisie or the owners. So, in a communist country, the government owns basically everything. They own the land, the natural resources, the industry, the banks, transportation. They own everything. So, a good example is this: if you lived in a house, you just bought this house, brand new, and all of a sudden you're like, your poor dog died, and you're digging a grave for them, and all of a sudden you strike oil. Bill thing of oil shoots up in the air. Your immediate thought is this: I'm rich. I found an oil field. Heck yeah. In a communist country, that oil does not belong to you. Okay? Then you might get a pat on the back. Thank you for finding this. But that's about it. You get none of that money because that natural resources and that land belongs to the government and not you. Okay? Now, the other thing that they control is the mass communication. So, newspaper, magazines, television, radio, movies, all that basically they control. And anything that is saying that communism is bad, it gets filtered out because they don't want to be the people to be swayed in any which way, just that they work. Okay, so that is the end of this video. There were no questions. Okay, so be sure when you come into class, you turn in your notes to the black basket near the door. Okay, and please make sure your name's on your paper. All right, I will show you a list, a big old list of, or stack of paper that have no names on it. Please put your name on it, and basically that's it. So I'll see you guys later. You have a good day.